The Puppet Show. A series of mysterious deaths leads Buffy to suspect a ventriloquist dummy.
And my note actually says, speaking of goosebumps, I thought we were opening with a shot from Xander's perspective because of what we've seen so far.
But it turns out the creepy voice we hear is someone else.
I will be whole. I will be new.
We see a bunch of kids rehearsing for a talent show that Giles has been put in charge of by the new principal.
Cordelia's singing was pretty funny, and I think what made it better was she was doing it without any accompaniment.
I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadows.
The new principal is played by Armin Shimmerman,
who is best known for playing Ferengi characters in Star Trek, as well as that weird message box sent by Loxana.
I hold a message for Deanna Troy.
The reason Giles has been put in charge of the talent show is because Principal Snyder feels he needs to interact more with students.
I did try to explain that my vocational choice of librarian was a deliberate attempt to minimize said contact, but he would have none of it.
Principal Snyder doesn't like our main cast. He thinks they are delinquents, so he makes them enter the talent show.
I'm fairly certain that can't happen in real life, but I'm not sure. This whole scene, having the tuba music behind everything as diegetic music, really made this scene stand out as being effective. I was a fan of Principal Flutie, but I'm kind of a fan of Principal Snyder already.
I know Principal Flutie would have said, kids need understanding. Kids are human beings. It's the kind of woolly-headed liberal thinking that leads to being eaten.
I like that he addresses the fact that so much weird stuff happens at the school.
Suicide, missing persons, spontaneous cheerleader combustion. You can't put up with that.
We see a kid named Morgan go on stage with a ventriloquist dummy.
Kid is in quotes.
Willow says,
I think dummies are cute.
And I thought this was going to be another Willow love interest episode, but thankfully it was not.
I like Giles' reaction when Morgan started talking with the dummy.
Hi, I'm Morgan. And I'm Sid.
As he goes into his routine, the dummy voice changes.
All right, time out. Let's stop this before someone gets hurt.
And for some reason, even though the jokes are just as lame as they were, everyone does that movie TV thing where all of a sudden it's very intriguing and humorous.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Like I said.
We cut to the locker room. We get some kind of monster perspective and the voice from earlier as a girl gets attacked.
I will be flesh.
Seems like every time they try to do a scary scene, it's in the locker room.
That's probably one of the writers getting out some internal trauma. Since the gang has to be in the talent show, they decide to perform a dramatic scene.
A dramatic scene is the easiest way to get through the talent show because it doesn't require an actual talent.
And Buffy is again wearing way too short of a skirt. I'm surprised Principal Snyder didn't call her out on that. And Morgan cuts in making jokes again. And again, I thought it was pretty funny.
You know what they say. Once you go wood, nothing's as good.
Somebody finds the dancer girl from before, and she is dead, and she's missing her heart.
And it was apparently removed by a knife.
Xander mentions,
I hate this school.
And Snyder already listed off a bunch of past issues from previous episodes, and it was ridiculous that A, parents still let their kids go to this school, B, there hasn't been some sort of investigation by an outside party, and C, that this school is even open still.
But R.L. Stine is not a great writer, so we'll let it slide.
What do you expect? It came from Ohio.
They keep saying it could be a demon, but Giles said back in the first episode,
The books tell that the last demon to leave this reality fed off a human, mixed their blood.
We did see Moloch, but he had been trapped in a book, so this seems a bit inconsistent. I did like Willow's response to the idea that it could be a human.
It could be anyone. It could be me. It's not, though.
So they decide to interview the other talent show performers to see who saw the dancer girl last.
I like how they interview only the talent show kids while they're holding or performing what their actual act is while they're being interviewed.
And all the results point to Morgan. And Buffy walks in on Morgan arguing with his puppet.
Right now, you and me gotta be on the lookout. Figure out who's gonna be next.
How are we supposed to...
The dummy's name is Sid.
And after about 3 seconds, Morgan pretty much blatantly tells Buffy that Sid is possessed. Where he's like, he's like coughs and goes like, possessed.
So Buffy goes to break into Morgan's locker to check out the dummy on her own, but Snyder interrupts with a great quote.
There are things I will not tolerate. Students loitering on campus after school. Horrible murders with hearts being removed. And also smoking.
He had really good humorous timing.
Agreed. He is already my new favorite character.
Morgan and Sid see Snyder and Buffy's interaction, and Sid claims that Buffy is the last one they have to kill.
That night when Buffy goes to bed, we see the puppet outside her window. She wakes up and notices it inside, and she reacts like a little girl when her mom comes in.
In the bed, in the covers, there's something.
Where?
There's something there.
She's the Slayer. She should be the one handling things. The next day at rehearsal, Giles is getting annoyed by Cordelia, and he tricks her into leaving.
Your hair,
There's something wrong with my hair? Oh my god.
I thought her comedy acting was really good.
Agreed. Buffy brings it up the next day and is immediately dismissed by the rest of the gang, including the guy who was just recently possessed by a hyena.
How?
It was like it pounced on my face.
Like a cat.
Yeah, exactly. But when I turned the lights on, it was already gone. I think it went out my window.
Like a cat.
Giles suggests that it could be a demon in disguise as a human who needs human organs to maintain his human form.
Buffy wants to get Morgan alone so she can ask him some questions, but apparently he takes Sid everywhere with him, including all of his classes, which the teachers are okay with, I guess.
This teacher finally does take it away, and when Morgan comes back at the end of the day to get Sid, turns out Sid is gone because Xander took him.
He stores him in the library, but Sid manages to escape.
I liked everyone's reactions when they noticed.
What? What is it? He's gone. Sid's gone. What? Oh!
Willow finds a book mentioning puppets harvesting organs in an attempt to become human.
Buffy finds Morgan, and he's dead. He's missing his brain, and then she is hit by a sped-up footage chandelier. She's then simultaneously attacked by Sid and Richard Band music.
Buffy manages to disarm Sid, and after some discussion, they realize that they were wrong about each other.
Turns out Sid is a demon hunter himself, stuck in a puppet body because of this curse. If he can kill the demon, he can finally be at peace.
And he thought Buffy was the demon that was trying to maintain human form.
Sid is voiced by Tom Weiner, who has quite a long list of voiceover roles, including the announcer from that terrible Star Wars fighting game.
Masters of Teräs Käsi, which is awesome.
Not the game. The fact that he voiced it.
Right.
Knockout. You win.
Easier than shooting log rats back home.
Round 2. Fight.
Buffy and Sid watch from the rafters to see who is missing from the talent show, because whoever it is should be gone now that they have everything they need. It seems like a big assumption to make, that the demon would just leave, but no one is missing. Giles spots someone backstage, and you can always recognize a Ferengi by his ears, so I knew it was Snyder.
Buffy finds Morgan's very fake-looking brain, but it turns out he had brain cancer, so the demon rejected his brain and still needs one from the smartest person, apparently.
Who they figure out is Giles, after a brief and pointless misdirect thinking it was Willow.
I didn't think it was pointless.
It doesn't go anywhere. The exact same scene. They point to Giles.
I liked how it was happening simultaneously. I didn't think it was pointless.
Okay.
So Giles is about to get his head chopped off by the magician kid, who is actually the demon, and he would have succeeded if he didn't have the dullest hatchet on Earth. Chopping that rope like 6 times.
Buffy shows up just in time and fights the kid, while Willow and Xander free Giles. I thought when he turned into his full demon form, the effects were pretty good. Then Sid pops out with a knife, and Buffy knocks the demon under the guillotine, and Xander drops the blade.
To fully finish off the demon, Sid stabs him in the heart, and we get that mutalisk sound effect again.
Sid dies, and the curtain opens, revealing that the audience has been sitting out there the whole time.
Okay, so they might have been sitting there waiting for the act to start, but they would have heard all of that noise behind the curtain.
And I would have thought the people on stage would have heard the people in the audience.
Well, they could be sitting quietly just waiting.
Yeah, right. This is a high school talent show.
Well, you would have thought there would have been other performers in the wings or something.
I did have a note that said, where are all the other students?
I don't get it. What is it? Avant-garde?
Then we get the gang performing their dramatic scene over the credits. But how did they explain the body that was left up on stage? The puppet show, overall?
I think this is the first one where the humor actually worked for me and was presented at appropriate times, as opposed to every other episode where the highest moments of tension equal the most idiotic jokes. The writing actually kept me interested for most of it, and there was better camera work than I remember in past episodes. There were red herrings throughout, but the characters you thought could be the culprit actually turned out to have purpose once they were cleared. In other episodes, the red herring characters turn out to not contribute anything, and once they're cleared, they're just gone. I would have liked to see Giles interact more with the talent show participants. It seemed like at the end he still managed to put this whole show together somehow, but we never really saw him do any of that. But for me, the standout character was the tuba music, without a doubt. I saw this one gets rated pretty low in the series overall, but I think it was the best one we've seen so far. I gave it a B.
I gave it a B+, and I honestly considered it an A-, because I really did enjoy this episode quite a bit. I agree that the balance between the humor and the seriousness was handled much better than anything we've seen so far, and the twist actually worked this time. We've seen some twists that just turned out to be whatever. There were a few unanswered questions. I wondered what Morgan's involvement with Sid was, but the jokes were funny, the mystery didn't feel like it dragged on, and we even got a great new character in Principal Snyder. This was by far the best episode so far, and the first one that I could legitimately say I fully enjoyed.
Agreed.
So let's hope things continue along this track.